Everyone says you need to have strategy. You need to have a calendar. You need to be very specific. You need to niche down. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you find yourself struggling to fit into the mold that all of the gurus have decided is the way things are supposed to work, guess what? That's not a failure on your part. That doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. All it means is that their recipe does not work for you. This is not a one-size-fits-all situation. So, recently, I turned 32. And every year, like right around my birthday, right before my birthday, and even, at the new year and everything, I do a lot of reflecting. And I think the main thing that I end up reflecting on are my goals, my habits, or my lack thereof. And this is not me being hard on myself, because I recently really I got over the whole thing of having SMART goals. And
I found that if you have a goal, that you might not reach it. But if you don't have one, then you are never disappointed. And I gotta tell you, it feels phenomenal.
Creating disciplined, structured habits and routines and things, because I am not diagnosed ADHD, but with all the research I've done, I'm definitely neurodivergent. And I've learned from much trial and error that I am not a structure person. Routine person. Like, don't get me wrong. I have like 3 to 5 things that I have to get done every day to keep my life going. We got to eat, so I have to make food. We need a clean house, so I got to do laundry and keep the kitchen clean, as clean as possible, considering that I use it 3 times a day. And there's just normal things that are necessary to keep your life going, right? But as I reflect on this new year of life, I've learned a lot, okay? 32 isn't old and it's not young. It's like I'm just a little more than a quarter of a century old. So I still have plenty of learning to do, plenty of growing to do, plenty of maturing to do. But I'm at least proud of myself and what I have accomplished up to this point. I'm proud of the healing that I've experienced, and the growth, and just overall the things that I've learned about myself in order to become the person I feel called to be, that I desire to be, right? So for starters, I realized how much time I have wasted on letting perfectionism run things in my life. The first place that I have stopped letting perfectionism be in control is in my home.
Gotta clean the house now, people! I want this place looking like Disney on Ice in 1 minute. Terry, if you haven't made your bed, throw it away. It's too late to make it now. Company is coming. Get rid of the couches. We can't let people know we sat. The chairs need to be pushed in. There cannot be any sign of living in this house. I don't care if we have to throw everything out. I want this place looking like a new Mediterranean fusion restaurant by noon.
Because anybody who has their own home, who runs their home, your home is your sanctuary, and there's things that you have to do to run it. And perfectionism was very much a part of how I did things. I had to keep the counters perfectly clear and clean of crumbs and stains. I had to always wipe the table constantly. The floors, they couldn't have, I shed like crazy, and they look at the hair I've got, you know, and my floors always have something on them. But I had a season of life where I finally had to come to the conclusion that I can't allow myself to be a slave to my home. So that's like the first area of my life where I learned that rather than allowing perfectionism to run things, I need to let the Lord run things through me, right? So in addition to perfectionism in my home, I've also allowed perfectionism to prevent me from, quote unquote, progressing in my business goals. I have dreamed of having my own online business my entire life, practically. Okay? It's crazy to think. Looking back from like the age of 15, I knew I wanted my own business. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what I wanted it to be, but I knew I wanted my own business in some way, shape, or form, because I knew that the main thing I wanted from life was freedom. Financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom. I knew I wanted freedom, right? Obviously, I didn't know those bullet points of freedom, types of freedom, back when I was a teenager. I just knew I wanted freedom. I knew that when I became an adult, I wanted to be in control of my life. In the sense that I didn't want to have a boss telling me what to do. I didn't want to have insane, unreasonable deadlines to meet, sales quotas to make, whatever the case may be. I tried college for a very long time. I kid you not. I went to college attempting to get a bachelor's degree for about 10 years and didn't finish, and I'm fine with that. I don't plan anytime soon. I don't foresee myself deciding to go back to school and finish a degree, because I realize it's not for me. And don't get me wrong, I would not be who I am today without all of those experiences, but I can say for sure that I would tell myself different advice. If I could go back and give my 17-year-old self, because that's when I graduated high school, if I could give my 17-year-old self advice, I would give myself different advice. And I'll make a whole different video on like what I would tell my 17-year-old self. But that's not this video. This video is about the things that I've learned about letting go of perfectionism. It's a daily battle, by the way. You don't just wake up one day and you're not a perfectionist anymore. It's a daily battle. It's a daily decision that you make. It's an hourly decision. I have moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. And then it's like, wait a minute, slow down. Getting flustered and obsessive about this is not going to help you. It's going to make you anxious. You're going to get exhausted. And then guess what? It's not going to get done. So take it one step at a time, one day at a time. That's literally what I tell myself. It's what I tell my family. We all have varying degrees of anxiety. Now I'm at the point where, number one, I've gotten over myself in the sense of I'm getting out of my own way. I'm no longer worrying about whether or not I'm good enough to make a video like this. I'm no longer worrying about whether or not I know enough, right? Instead, I'm deciding that I'm just going to be myself. What a concept, right? And whoever enjoys this will show up and hang out and stay. And whoever doesn't will leave, and that's fine. We each have our people. You'll find your people, I'll find my people. If our people are the same people, hey, let's join forces. And if we're not, no problem. You do you, right? Enjoy your life. When it comes to nowadays and what I'm doing now and what I'm deciding to be intentional about is totally counterintuitive to what all of the successful people are saying. Everyone says you need to have strategy. You need to have a calendar. You need to be very specific. You need to niche down. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've tried all of those things and they don't work for me. So if you find yourself struggling to fit into the mold that all of the gurus have decided is the way things are supposed to work, guess what? That's not a failure on your part. That doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. All it means is that their recipe does not work for you. Their formula doesn't work for you. Because when it comes to online business, when it comes to any kind of aspiration that you have in life, there is not a perfect formula, recipe, step-by-step process that is going to work for everyone. This is not a one-size-fits-all situation, okay? So there are like 3 primary things that I've discovered for myself, and they may not be a surprise to you, but for me, it's like, whoa, epiphany, light bulb, mind blown, right? Put that emoji on the screen, mind blown, okay? I've learned that I don't need to choose a specific niche. I don't need to niche down. I don't need to become an expert in something, like one thing, and that be my thing. I don't need to create a strategic marketing plan. I don't need to do any of those things, because here's the reality. The algorithm doesn't care about what you're posting. It only cares about how often, and it only cares about how much engagement your post gets. And that pretty much goes for every social media platform out there. I don't care if you're on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, whatever you're on, all algorithms to one extent or another, they value like frequency. That's what it is. They value frequency and they value engagement. So number 1, if you are uploading a lot, whatever a lot is for you, and if your uploads are getting engagement, likes, comments, subscribes, shares, whatever, and there's people actually interacting in your comment section, that's engagement. So basically, as I've reflected over everything I've learned in the last 10 years, I basically came across what I kind of considered my 5 keys to being successful in online business for me. And again, these are very personal. If you resonate with them, let me know in the comments. Let me know if any of these are like, oh my gosh, I realized that too. Or wow, I should try that. Thanks for sharing, whatever. Number 1 is being willing to create crap over and over and over again. I have several really crappy videos on this channel. Okay. And I'm not taking them down. You want to know why? Because I believe in allowing people to see how far I've come and where I started, so they themselves can receive some kind of inspiration to be like, look, maybe in the future when I've got 1,000 subscribers, 5,000, and let's say I hit that amazing 100,000 subscriber milestone one day, I want people to be able to go to my oldest videos and see how crappy they were and realize, oh my gosh, if she can do it, so can I. If she can make crappy videos and I can make even better videos, why can't I be successful on here? So be willing to create crap, because guess what? As you create crap, your stuff becomes less crappy, especially if you're willing to learn from the mistakes that you made, especially if you're willing to study other videos that are similar to the ones you want to make and the style that you're currently trying to make or that you want to make, the ones that are successful in the area that you want to be creating videos in. Make sure that you're studying, like watching the type of video you want to make. And the ones that have several thousand views and who are monetized because they've got several thousand subscribers, their videos have comments on them, which means they're getting engagement. They've got likes, they've got a couple thousand views. And over time, you're going to start noticing that channel grow and increase in subscribers and increase in views on their videos and increase in likes, and the comments are going to increase. That's what you want to learn from. I'm not saying to copy what they're doing. I'm saying learn from it. Take inspiration from it. See what they do in their editing style. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. In the comments, be like, hey, I wonder what kind of camera you're using. I'd love to make a video like this. Or, hey, where do you find inspiration? Blah, 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 blah. Don't be afraid to engage with the creator. Be willing to create crap and learn from it over and over and over again. Number 2, be willing to learn as you go. So I kind of covered that already. It's okay to not know everything up front. You're not gonna know everything up front unless you are specializing in like counseling. Maybe you're a licensed medical professional. I have to sneeze. So let's say you're a licensed medical professional. That's your niche, for example, if that's what you want to create videos about. So you're obviously going to have a level of expertise that your viewers do not have unless your viewers are fellow medical professionals in your same field, okay? Otherwise, you don't have to have a degree in what you're talking about. Like, you don't need to go get a degree in crochet in order to teach people how to crochet. I sure don't have one, and I can teach how to crochet. I've taught people how to crochet. I don't need a degree in English to teach people how to speak English because I'm a native English speaker. Same thing with Spanish, okay? So keep that in mind. Be willing to learn as you go. Be willing to create crap. And remember that you're not going to know everything up front. There's going to be a few skills that you do want to learn before you get started. And I'm actually going to be teaching some of those skills on this channel. So stick around if you want to see my perspective on learning various online business skills that will help you get started, some foundational things. Anyway, number 3 is just upload, publish whatever makes you happy. Because if you don't publish what makes you happy, you're not going to want to publish consistently. And when I say consistently, I mean however often you've decided you want to publish. The algorithm doesn't care about what you post. I said this earlier. It cares about how often you post and how much engagement your posts get. This, believe it or not, is how influencers get so big so fast. Quantity over quality. Just post whatever makes you happy. Now, I'm not saying to post trash unless that's your thing. If you want to post trash, whatever the definition of trash is for you, trash content, okay? If it makes you happy to post it, okay? But just be willing to create crap. Be willing to keep learning as you go. Number 4 is don't let go of your boundaries. And if you haven't set boundaries yet, make sure you set some, because no matter what, as you grow, because you will grow if you keep uploading, it's inevitable. As you grow, there are going to be opportunities for you to make money. But you definitely want to have boundaries that you've already outlined for yourself up front. You can reevaluate those boundaries seasonally, quarterly, whatever works for you. But you want to have these boundaries set in place. And I'm going to define for you what I mean. If you know that you only want to work 3 days a week, 5 hours a day, so that's 15 hours a week, you definitely want to start out working 3 days a week, 5 hours a day, 15 hours a week. Don't start working 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. Because guess what? The minute you see the success that you're searching for, that you're shooting to get, you're shooting to achieve, you're going to have to figure out, oh my gosh, how do I now whittle this down to my 3 day a week goal? It's going to be really hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it'll be very hard. You definitely want to start out within that boundary that you envision. So the number one thing I suggest, this is something I do for myself, something I recommend to people who ask, is what do you envision your life looking like when you achieve the level of success that you want to achieve? So for me, it'd be, how do I want my life to look when my YouTube channels, I have more than one, are monetized? And let's say my income goal, my minimum income goal of $1,000 a month in total has been reached. How do I want things to look in my life? Well, number 1, I don't want to be a slave to my business, because for that, I go get a traditional job and become a slave to that and have a steady paycheck that I don't have to worry about losing necessarily. Another potential boundary that would support time freedom, location freedom, would be making sure that if I'm going to do some freelance work, that I choose freelance clients that do not require me to be in a certain location. So that's another thing that I'm working on incorporating into my online business is offering freelance services. However, the clients have to know that I am going to be anywhere in the world, completely 110% remote. Okay. So I'm willing to conform to their time zone if need be, but I'm not going to go and fly to their state or their country in order to complete the work, because that defeats the purpose of remote work. So if you have a goal of working remote, if you have a goal of having location freedom, do not give up those boundaries of your location freedom that you want. If you have a goal of having your online business income completely replace or maybe even double your current full-time job income, or maybe your spouse's or partner's income, and so that the both of you can have freedom, for example, make sure that the work you are producing is being produced within the confines of boundaries that you know are going to be sustainable. Because if you want to travel, sure, you can definitely either transition your current YouTube channel or make a new one all about travel, and that right there will be another source of income. But if you're a crochet YouTuber and you want to travel the world, you can make crochet videos from anywhere, by the way. But you also have to have your boundary of you're not going to just make crochet videos all day, every single day, because then when you travel, when are you going to sightsee? So keep those things in mind. Make sure that you set boundaries, and make sure that when you have those boundaries that you don't give up on them when you start to see success, because it's not worth it. You want to set things up in the beginning in a way that makes sense for the long term, to be sustainable, to be realistic. You don't want to end up on, what's the metaphor I'm trying to find? You don't want to end up on this hamster wheel that you can't get off of. So don't put yourself on a hamster wheel that you're not willing to stay on permanently, basically. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. The last key that for me is really important, that I really believe wholeheartedly, that if you're neurodivergent, you're an introvert, any of those things, you definitely need to consider this. If you hate what you're producing, be willing to switch gears. Don't be afraid to take a break, regroup, and be willing to lose momentum to find the new spark of inspiration.
Pivot! 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 Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
I know that sounds insane, especially if you're way ahead of where I am, and let's say you're already monetized on YouTube, or maybe you have a really great blog and you already make some decent income from affiliate marketing or ads or anything like that, or maybe you have a successful online store where you sell handmade products, or maybe you sell print on demand. Whatever the case may be, there may be already a level of success that you've experienced, but there also may be a level of burnout that you've either already gone through or that is starting to emerge. And the thing that I want to warn you against is being afraid to make changes that are going to support long-term sustainable success. The reason that's so important is because, again, going back to setting boundaries, if you are not willing to switch gears and reevaluate what you're doing and your goals and how what you're doing is affecting your life, then you're going to stay stuck, and you're going to become resentful, and you might even become physically ill or experience mental health problems as a result. So avoid all of that by being willing to say, okay, if I need to take a 6-month sabbatical from creating YouTube videos, that's what I'm going to do. You let your audience know, and the people who really care about you, who really love your content and who love you, your personality, your brand, right? They're going to stay there. They're going to stick around, and they're going to be there when you get back. The ones who are not meant to stay in your audience, who don't really align with you and your brand, they're going to leave, and that's okay. You don't need to want the wrong people to stay. Because if you don't produce content that makes you happy, you're going to attract the wrong people. And that's not the kind of business you want. It's the same thing with working with clients. If you're a coach, if you are a freelancer, if you create physical products or even digital products, let's say you're a course creator, whatever the case may be, It doesn't matter what you make. You need to make sure that whatever you produce makes you happy. And if it makes you happy, you're going to attract the right people. So when it's time to take a sabbatical, when it's time to say, hey guys, I need a month off. I need to step away for the next, 3 to 6 months. I'm going to go travel the world for a little while. And I don't want to feel obligated to turn on my camera and talk to it. They're going to be like, hey, do what you got to do. Take care of yourself. We love you. We'll see you when you come back. We'll be here. Sounds great. I've seen plenty of YouTubers boom in their success, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views on their videos. And guess what? Sometimes they've had to say, hey, I got to take a step back. This is too much for me right now. This season of life is going to prevent me from having my health if I continue to force this to work. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the growth of this channel. I wouldn't be here without you, which is the truth. No content creator exists without their audience. Just make sure that you produce things that make you happy so you attract the right people. So that when you need a break or you need to switch gears, they understand because they're here for you now and your content. So that's it. At least for now. I've realized that by not overthinking things so much, I'm more likely to produce something that I actually enjoy creating. What a concept. You're a content creator or you're a crafter or whatever you do, you're creating something. Even if you're a coach, you're still creating something. You're creating something that helps change someone's life, for instance. Even if you're just a gaming content creator, you're creating something that's going to entertain people and you have to enjoy the games that you play. So I realized that if I don't enjoy the process, what's the point? The whole reason of becoming a content creator and building an online business is to experience freedom, right? Yes, exactly. So that's the main reason why you have to be willing to not conform and not be swindled by all the gurus out there who are telling you to niche down unless you want to, who are telling you got to post 3 times a week or every single week or every single day you need to post, 10 minutes of Instagram stories. No, post what you want, what makes you happy and how often you want to do it. And as long as you are happy doing it, you're going to stick with it to some extent or another, whatever the sticking with it looks like for you. So how can I have the freedom that I desire, that I dream of, if I'm consistently putting myself into the boxes that society and gurus say that I should be in? So that's a question I ask myself. And I want you to ask yourself that question. How can you get what you want if you've tried the recipes and they haven't worked? It's like dieting. Okay, I'm also anti-diet, by the way. Diet culture, be gone. It doesn't work. There's no one-size-fits-all recipe for everybody. You need to figure out what works for you. And that requires just taking inspiration, learning as you go, and being willing to set your boundaries and not move from them. Reevaluate them and adjust them as needed, but don't let any outside influence you into changing your mind once you've made your mind up. I hope that in some way this has been helpful. If so, I would love for you to click that like button, comment below. Let's have a nice conversation about what I've shared about here. And if you want to keep seeing more of this type of content, more of this beautiful face and ever-growing hair, because I have goals to become Rapunzel, subscribe. And you can find the sort of transcript of this video on my blog, linked down below. I kind of read from it a little bit. I also totally rabbit trailed many, many times. So the video is almost an hour long at this point of recording. It may or may not actually stay this long. I don't know yet. We'll see what editing Becca decides. Anyway. I I'm so grateful for you being here. Thank you for watching. If you've watched this far, thank you so much. Your viewership means the world to me. Your time is valuable, and I appreciate you sharing some of your time with me today. You can further support this channel through some of my links below. You don't have to. Literally just subscribing, liking, commenting, watching. That's more than enough support. And I'm so grateful for it. So I hope that you have a wonderfully blessed day. And here's to keeping it real. Bye. Hold on. If you decided that you don't fit the mold. Wow, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so my audio should be going through my microphone. I think that's okay.